So we continue to reflect on the legacy of Babita Deokaran as today marks 3 years since the assassination of the senior official in the Gauteng Health Department. She was a whistleblower who was on the verge of exposing significant corruption at the Gauteng hospital. Despite her killers getting lengthy sentences, the masterminds behind her murder on the 23rd of August 2021 remain unidentified. Joining me now is the Gauteng provincial government spokesperson, Vuyo Mhaga, and what is playing out also on your screen are live visuals coming from Mondio. This is where some civil servant organizations have gathered, as well as the family of Babita Deokaran, where she was gunned down 3 years ago on this day. Vuyo Mhaga now joining us on the line. Vuyo, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us. I want to start off here. What legacy do you think Babita Deokaran left behind?
No, thank you very much, Sambir. And I think it's one of those chilly mornings 3 years later. And I think your question is quite relevant in terms of really the work of having government officials and generally government to reflect on what more can we then do to fight, corruption within the space of governance in Gauteng. And you will know in the State of the Province address that the Premier just had last week, he had already said that he had received the HOD's lifestyle audits to make sure that the people that are at the helm of governance obviously have got their way correct. That also goes to the supply chain setup as well as some senior level of organization. There has been some restructuring also in the Department of Health where Babita was working, where anything beyond 500,000 it needs to be looked at by the Treasury to make sure that there's nothing untoward, but also to really look at the financial interest of the senior management in that particular space. So we continue to strengthen the institutions of government as a response, so to say, as a legacy from what we have actually had in that tragic day.
Yeah, well, we just got off the phone with Andy Mutibi, who is the head of the SIU, and explaining that the investigation has, of course, expanded, and now they're looking into purchase orders to the value of around 3 billion rand. The point that you raised about tenders above 500,000 rand having to go to the provincial treasury. So he says there's a new syndicate, and the syndicate is to divide the purchase orders among service providers to bring it below the 500,000, so it doesn't trigger the intervention of a treasury. So already, whatever the government has come up with is already being circumvented.
No, you'll remember it's part of the issues, Sambir, if you go back to 3 years ago, that Babita actually raised, is that some of these things get divided into those particular issues. So there are ways, what we call the supply chain, higher division than the ones that are actually dealing with even below that particular amount. Because if you really go through that story 3 years ago, part of the issues that the SIU is actually bringing are the issues that she was already bringing. So there were measures already within the particular department that those circumventions are also curtailed.
Yeah, but again, that doesn't deal with the issue then, the issue around them coming up with ways to circumvent a measure that you have come up with. So already you have an investigation of around 3 billion rand for purchase orders that are below 500,000 rand, some of which I believe that the provincial department doesn't know of, the Treasury Department.
No, that's what I'm saying. Something within the Department of Health, you'll then find to have a committee that will have to look. So instead of having one person who then says, give me the 3 orders, and then you set it up, you then have another a top committee that actually have to look at those issues. Hence, I'm saying that these are some of the issues that will have been found 3 years ago, and some measures within that department have actually been inserted.
Okay. The 5 officials that have been suspended, including Lerato Majo, who is the Gauteng Health CFO. She was suspended in August 2022. 2 years after her suspension, where is she?
No, I think she will have proceeded because obviously there's someone substantial in that particular post. But those issues of the law enforcement agencies, obviously after ongoing in terms of really going to the deeper issue. Who was the mastermind around it? Of course, the police did find who were the hit people, but really our major interest, I suspect in this case, also the interest of the family who was behind that particular thinking. So some of that work is obviously being done by the law enforcement agencies.
Yeah.
Although they are impatient, but obviously we need to give them space to do their work thoroughly.
Sorry, what are you saying about Lerato?
No, I'm saying there's someone substantial in that particular post. Obviously, she's actually attending the law law enforcement agencies aspect, not within the department.
Oh, does it mean that she's been fired?
No, she's not in the department at the moment.
She's not in the department, but still in the employ of the Gauteng government?
No, she won't be in the employ of the Gauteng government.
So where is she?
Well, I suspect she will have carried on with her life.
No, so she resigned?
Yes, she will have resigned in that aspect, yeah.
Okay then, thank you so much for your time. That is the Gauteng provincial government spokesperson there, Vuyo Mhaga.